What's going on? This is Aaron Price, the CEO of Tech United. Very excited to be here on this Thanksgiving week, talking with Carl Imazanti, somebody who I've known in the New Jersey technology community for many, many years. He is the founder and chairman of eMazzanti. He's joining us, even though normally he's in Hoboken. He's joining us from a very special remote location in Hawaii. Carl, good to see you.
Good to see you, Aaron. Thank you for having me.
Why? I think the people who are local may wonder, how did you find yourself in Hawaii?
Well, I think some of those things came about because of COVID, and it was the safest place on the planet to go to. At this point, everyone's had experiences, but for myself, we lost multiple family members in the last 2 years, and running a technology business, we tried to do the same things that were the best that we could for our customers. We did it ourselves, and the testament is I ran the organization for almost a year and a half without having to go into the office.
Great.
And that
team. Office happens to be in Hoboken primarily, doesn't it?
It is. Yeah, Hoboken, Montreal, and we have a handful of other satellite facilities as well.
So tell people who aren't familiar, what is eMazzanti? What do you guys do?
For many, we are their IT department. For some, we go up a vertical stack. So for Microsoft, we're top 11 in the United States, top 200 worldwide. I'd like to say that we're the best at the few things that we do, but we don't do everything. We're very, very partner friendly. Like 60% of our revenue comes in from other partners. In those scenarios, we're supplementing services where we may do a migration or be remote hands in another geography where we have a facility. We've helped people recover from tornadoes or natural disasters in different geographies where we've gotten their email up and running in other systems because we weren't affected, and even during Hurricane Sandy, Ida, power outages in the New York metropolitan area, we've been tried, true, and tested, and always been able to respond.
So the IT space is a little crowded. How do you differentiate?
Okay. It's interesting. There's over 2,800 Microsoft partners in just the New York metropolitan area.
28, how many hundred did you say?
2,800, yeah.
Wow.
And just the New York metropolitan area, within a 2-hour drive radius of our corporate office. And that's a lot of people. And if you look in the United States, it's 300 to 400,000. Like it's really big. So some of those items is, we choose a few things, and those few things we do very, very well. And that's been part of our mantra always. We always wanted to be the best at whatever it is the customer's coming to us. And even though they try and pull us in different directions, we'll help them find a good partner to be able to fill in that gap. And then we manage the partner. Because of that, ideology, we have a really strong project management team. And our project management teams allows us to manage the other vendors. And our customer gets this incredible experience because they're getting the best of everything. Anyway, it just kind of feeds upon itself. And it's one of the reasons why we like Tech United so much. Very, very friendly in the community.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You guys have been a great partner. But on those, the areas where you say, let's be great at these few things, what are those few things that you say, let's be, the best?
So we're WatchGuard firewalls, border gateway security, and it's not just really a firewall anymore. It does so many other things, like telling you what's happening inside the environment, connecting different sites or people from all over the world to be able to collaborate and share. We're 5-time worldwide partner of the year, and I think if you looked at revenue, 30 out of maybe 30 out of 40 or 30 out of 38 quarters, we were number one worldwide for units shipped. For Microsoft, I think we added 28,000 seats to Office 365 in the last 12 months. I mean, so many of our customers were already set up to work remotely, but getting people on Teams and getting rid of file servers and moving them to the cloud. I mean, there were so many of those motions over the last 12 months, and we've grown pretty handily because of it. And then the bread and butter was always for many, we are the IT department. So besides, WatchGuard. We're number 3 in Xerox in the state of New Jersey, and some of these other things that we do inside of the region. We're happy to help people evolve or map out what their IT plan should be going forward.
What is the best size? When should someone reach out to you, and what is in the sweet spot of customer size for you?
Okay. So we were the SMB Partner of the Year. And I would say we absolutely excel when the accounts are what Microsoft calls small, medium business, which is 250 users and below, has always been a sweet spot for us. And, I like talking to different owners, and it's a dynamic group. They're hyper growth. So like right now, there's so many new hires happening inside of our customer base, because those small businesses tend to grow a lot when the economy is on an uptick. Ideally they're spending, $10,000 or $20,000 and above in some sort of mixture. And I'd say that could be cloud services, equipment, and services. That's kind of a good spot where, they fall into our paying attention and direct outreach. Below 20,000 on an annual basis, if they're in what I'd call their breast space, which is really emails, digital nurturing, events that we run, videos and the like. Is just too many people out there to try and do one-on-ones with it, and our cost structure would have to go up from the 1 or 2 users to have that direct engagement.
Makes sense. So, obviously with remote work getting more and more popular, I know it's something that we in the tech industry have been doing for quite a while pre-pandemic, but seeing the world take this on in mass, I'm sure has brought you a lot of opportunity. What do you see as some of the bigger risks, though? Now that you have people working from their homes, how do you help your managers protect themselves from, cyber risks and the things that come up in this new environment?
The end nodes and email has been atrocious. Email has always been an inexpensive way to message and attack people at breadth, right? To get lots of people. Well, what the rest of the world doesn't realize is that bad people run a business. The money they steal from you is the revenue they make, and they have employees and payroll, and they have to do money laundering to get the money out and be able to spend it or do something else with it. Well, when the economy locked down, well, the businesses that they were going after, they couldn't go after anymore, and some of them even closed, and they weren't paying anyone, let alone even the ransomware. So they started to use email, and it went up like a rocket ship. So the end nodes are dangerous now. You have all of these devices sitting inside of people's homes, and I'm a parent, right? I've handed my phone to my children when I'm sitting at the restaurant because I want a few minutes with my wife to talk to her. And, now those devices are, they get infected because the kid's going to places that normally the commercial user wouldn't use. So we tried to layer on security, right? You improve security scores on people who use Microsoft or Google as their platforms. We set up things like Geo Fencing. Well, what was so easy to do Geo Fencing is you had people stuck at home. So for the first time, you could say, well, these are where all the connections are coming from, and they're not going to come from anywhere different. So let's block all the other connections. And what's neat about that, so if you're in America, there's only 300 and something million people that live in America, and there's 8 billion in the world. We cut off 7.7 billion people from being able to attack you. The huge percentage of improvement just by doing simple things like blocking out the geographies from which you can connect to a system. It's a great idea. So people only left this call with that one idea. Super easy to do. Absolutely makes sense. Your bookkeeper or whatever is probably not leaving the country on a regular basis and doesn't need to be accessing your financials while they're traveling on holiday on a cruise ship.
By the way, some of those basics, right? Do you find that let's say that kind of scenario, right? Somebody's checking in at the Starbucks or on a cruise ship or wherever.
Yep.
Are those massive vulnerability areas, and do you see attacks happen from those locations?
We do. When I was doing in-person events, I would bring a device and I'd leave it in the back of the room. and then I'd put on the screen each of the cell phones that were connecting to my wireless access point while the people walked in. And it would show the names, and then people would sit down, they would look up, and they would see their name on the screen. They wouldn't know how the name showed up, but people's cell phones are set to connect automatically to United Wi-Fi or to Starbucks or CVS or these different sites that over a period of time, they slowly added them in. Well, we just set up the device to, when it goes to connect with that, we just allow them in. And then you stand in the middle and you just start to collect all the items. So we'll ask for a volunteer in the room, and we would show all their emails and what they were texting, just sliding down the screen and what was going in and out of the phone. And that just, was such an eye-opener to people that you really can't connect to public Wi-Fi. It's such a bad idea. And if you do, why not put a VPN on your cell phone to encrypt all the traffic that's leaving? That was, this is not like a novel concept. That was a BlackBerry. All BlackBerries were VPN tunnels back to a corporate environment. And then we just we removed that. Well, by removing that, we just made all of the cell phones such an easy target.
I will say I missed my BlackBerry Messenger. It was a great little service, and that keypad was pretty sweet too. But a lot of younger people watching think we're losers for thinking that, but I was a big fan.
Well, I might be getting you one for the holidays, just for the holidays.
I loved that thing. I really did. In fact, rumor has it, and I think this is a true rumor, that Governor Murphy still uses his BlackBerry because he just can't get himself to type on a screen instead of those keys. But so we're still representing strong in New Jersey, I believe. The most senior levels. So, by the way, like, I'm curious on this small detail, right? Especially as we talk about those early, in our community where there are startups and founders growing their businesses where maybe they're not ready for an eMazzanti solution. I've used NordVPN. I'm a big fan. It's very cost effective. Any particular tools that you would recommend until people can maybe formalize their IT department that they should just use, or that they should even tell their families, like, here are some inexpensive options that would make you much safer?
Well, multi-factor authentication is a clear place to start. You've got to assume that your password's going to get out there, and there's so many different accounts that you log into. It's it's difficult to differentiate all of them without some sort of structure with the way you're doing the passwords. So the first step is MFA. It's almost always free from all the different vendors. So the recommendation is stick with MFA across the board, and that should solve the majority of your needs. Besides the MFA, I would say hire someone. And starting off with one or two people and hiring someone makes sense. Just don't have to do everything alone. And for a small investment, you can get an incredible peace of mind. My call right before this was with the sewer authority in the state of New Jersey that only has 2 employees, and that seems like a problem right there. But keep going. Yeah, well, water, sewer, all of those items are considered critical infrastructure. If there's a problem that happens in one of those 2, the FBI is mandated to show up. Water is a critical item. You don't play with water inside of any state or county in the United States. So that the water authorities have been attacked as of recent. So this water authority was trying to protect themselves. There's only 2 employees inside of it. They've worked there for 10 or 20 years, and they try not to do anything bad. But the funds that they're going to get back from the state more than will cover our laying of all the security for that water authority. So their lives will get better. They'll end up protecting all of the citizens inside of the area, and it's good for generally all parties. But that's an example where their reduction in insurance and other fees would more than cover all of our services, and people don't think that way. Sometimes they just don't think of this concept that, hey, maybe my car insurance and other stuff would be less expensive if I did X, Y, or Z, or I did a little bit of training. There's people. The probability of something happening drops so much that you get better educated, B, your life gets better, and C, you get some money back that can cover all of it. So totally. On the startups that are on this call, there are ways of layering us in, and we're pretty conscious of trying to provide value to smaller firms that are trying to make it.
Yeah. And for the growth in the enterprise clients, do you ever walk into environments where, maybe it's a name brand or a large company and you're shocked to see how poorly protected they are?
I am. We see it in the hyper growth firms when they're super hyper growth, like more than triple digits or four digits. The the new hire says, "I've been here for 2 more weeks. I'm now your manager," and because of things like that, so everyone is so afraid to layer in anything that would restrict their growth and evolution. And because of that, those are some of the riskiest firms that are out there. They don't do alumni cleanup. There's shares. There's all these public shares that are out there for people that are no longer with the organization. So one of the first things we do is we start to close off this attack surface that exists for the organization, because it's a really easy way of securing the org. For the startups that are on this call, it's the same thing. You've got a founder and a handful of friends that helped you out, and you opened up everything to every single one of them. But you need to be realistic. Jimmy Bo, who went to college with you and had beers with you, doesn't need the shares of all your dreams and plans any longer, because whatever they probably helped you with, unless they're paid or inside the firm or an investor, it's time to cut off those shares. You just don't need to do it.
So I think you've tried to convince me a few times to make my move to Microsoft, and we're still, we're Google and Slack. So I'm curious to hear your case, hear you state your case again, even, for those. I think that's a common stack, for startups in general, right? It's cheap, it's quick, it's easy to get going. Sometimes some of these things are free to start out with. Maybe why should people reconsider, or when should people? Yeah.
Sure. Google is great on the consumer product. There's no question about it. There's no formal filing. The search is really good. It's easy to pick up, and arguably, I think they've got a great user interface. There's things that happen as the organization gets larger, where you need to collaborate in a way that multiple people can be sharing ideas and doing that really quickly. And Office is absolutely the killer platform. There's nothing better on this planet than the way when you start to create content and you need to evolve that and turn it into action, Office kills, hands down.
But do you mean from a security perspective? Like, I prefer often the usability of some of the Google products, but I'm wondering, you mean specifically from like the security point of view?
So, it's the sharing, being able to pull people in. Teams is really like a wrapper on top of SharePoint. It's been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
But most organizations couldn't deploy that very well. For me, that's my phone system now. I ran the firm for 1.5 years, not living in town. I mean, you realize like the delegation that needs to take place, and the ability to get accountability. Like, hey, we spoke about this. This is what we're going to get done. Here's our check-in. Are those things all done? And you really need to be able to do that, because I couldn't walk up to them anymore. There wasn't, we were going to look each other eye to eye. Those things weren't going to happen. I wasn't hopping on a flight for anything. So, Microsoft just does a great way of handling accountability, pulling other people in and anticipating some of the needs into the future. So it's this great integrated play. In the Google stack, there are point solutions that are really good. There's no question about it. If you're heavy on this or heavy on some other ones, I think Google will win out. And there's even some verticals that are a better fit for Google than they are for Microsoft. Like, Microsoft can't solve all of them. Google can't solve all of them. And that's why there are point solutions that exist. And I'm super aware of it. And we've got diversity in our customer base where they'll have X, Y, or Z for whatever reason. And we support it for them. For the startup on the integrated play, it's difficult to fight against, where Microsoft can offer that. And then really a good partner like us to be able to, configure those things appropriately so that as the firm grows really quickly, it's already there.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your friendship over the many years and support of Tech United. And it's great to see, eMazzanti grow, over all these years of your business building. I hope that you got 20 more years of fantastic growth in this organization, and that a lot of our Tech United members and people in our community in general, obviously sign up for multi-factor authentication, use a VPN, don't be an idiot about joining public Wi-Fi, and then as soon as you start to grow, call Carl. They can help you out, make sure you stay safe and don't have any major cybersecurity issues. So thanks so much for joining us from Hawaii. Hopefully we'll see you back in Hoboken and New Jersey pretty soon. And I hope you get to enjoy that surfboard behind you sometime today, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Aaron. See you later, man.
All right, man. We like to end on the high five. So 1, 2, 3, give it to me.
Oh,
Boom. High five the camera. There it is. All right, man. Thanks a lot. Take care.
You got it.